Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Today, we are speaking with Sri Mahabir. Sri is a video marketing producer and owner of Next Level Consulting Agency. She coaches entrepreneurs to create highly engaging videos that make money. And I think you're going to pay attention about that. She's also named as one of the top 15 coaches in Houston. Sri, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm taking notes over here of all the different ways people do intros. So that's a tip that I would share. If you find yourself struggling, try to figure out what kind of style do you like, because that's what I did. I watched a bunch of people and then I figured out my style.
Outstanding. Well, folks, we're going to be talking about using video as a business tool. And if that's something that's interesting to you, you need to listen to the entire episode. But before we get into that, Sri, tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Sri, and I'm out here in Houston, Texas. Many don't believe I have a 21-year-old who is a junior in college looking for a job. And the journey really started in 2019 because 8 months prior, my ex, the father of my child, had passed away and didn't leave a legacy. And so here I am thinking, what can I do? I need to think about, if something were to happen to me, what would happen for her? And the only thing that I can leave behind is a business, because I had a 9-to-5, and that you cannot leave with your child, but you can leave behind a business which they can choose to run or sell. And that's where it began, of understanding, what gets people to connect and work with you. And at first, the thing that people were talking about is testimonial videos. And then it was placed on my heart, hear their journey. And I'm thinking, well, how do you do this? Like, I don't have a studio. I don't have a camera. I don't have the right equipment. Then 2020 hits and we're trying to figure out, how do you create visibility to your business? And here I see Ed Milet, Lewis House, Gary Vee going live. And I thought, that's what I want to do. And then I saw my friend going live on Instagram, and I had just prayed with her. And I said, you know what? I'm going to ask her, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to bring my show to life. And that is how Journey of an Entrepreneur came to life. I did not have any experience being on camera. I took a course off of LinkedIn of what to, look at, what to say. I had a few experiences here and there and chances to learn how to write a script, what to think about when you have sound or the background, but everything was on the fly. And that's where the journey began. After 100 live shows, I started working with a mentor who then was like, if you don't like your first business, what do you like? And I told her about the live streaming show. And out of 140 of them, I coached. And that's where I started posting on LinkedIn about the whole, hey, I can help you get on camera. And then 6 months later, I was working for somebody, and then they laid me off. I had been with them for 4 years, and they laid me off 9 days before Christmas. And this is what I've been doing. It started off of just working with one entrepreneur, and then it developed into an agency where we take care of all of the technology. Like Enrique had it all set up, but many times a lot of the entrepreneurs, especially medical doctors, lawyers, they don't have time to sit around and fool with the technology. They just want to have it all set up. They just come, they speak with their guests, and they want to leave. And that's what we are doing in the agency. But if you were to ask me this question, Enrique, like, did you know you were going to have an agency in 2019 or 2020, I would have laughed. So that's just a little bit about what I do and how it all came to where I am today.
An amazing journey. I have witnessed it from the beginning. I remember we've been connected on LinkedIn for quite a while, and I've seen your videos evolve from when you started just doing it yourself, and then you started doing a live stream, and then you started doing group things, and then now I'll see you on multiple channels, on multiple videos and streams. So it's been a wonderful time to see you evolve, even with the things that we don't see, the background, the getting laid off and this happening in life and all the challenges that come that way. But you mentioned something that's very important. And for those that are listening, if you have a business already, great, you're going to learn some things here. But also for those that are wondering what I can do, and this is something that interests me, you should pay attention as well, because Sri is going to not only does she share her journey and maybe similar to you, but she's going to teach some things and say some things that may pique your interest to maybe go a little deeper with video. And as we are talking, Sri, about using video as a business tool, what's the value of video and why should I go that way?
There's so much noise. You're going to hear that all the time. There's so much noise. There's so much noise. And that's true. In 2020, nobody was doing video and nobody was doing live streaming. So it was pretty new. And I was on Instagram and I was one of the few that was really consistently showing up in that small group, going from 97 followers to what I have today. Now, when I came onto LinkedIn, this is where the more connections came, and I realized that video, not only it was really a grateful tool and helped me connect and build community on Instagram, but it's the same thing you can do on LinkedIn, even on TikTok. And these are before I even came to LinkedIn, I was posting on other platforms because I was scared. But to answer your question, the reason why I was scared is because it gets you visibility. The more that people get to understand who you are, how you are, before they even get to talk to you, the easier it is for them to want to work with you. So from a business standpoint, many people are trying to figure out, well, how can I connect with this person? How can I connect with my team? You're starting to see more CEOs and billionaires and many millionaires wanting a podcast, wanting a live streaming show, wanting to be on YouTube. Why? Because they want to connect. So if you're thinking about, well, how can I connect? Video is the fastest way. Don't worry about the viral views. Worry about that the person who needs to hear that message finally decides to work with you. Because many times the people who want to do business with you are not the ones who are commenting, not the ones who are liking your post, and they're definitely not resharing it onto their profile. What they are doing is they're taking the link from your video and they're sharing it with other people, or they might be using it in their presentations. And especially if they're leading a team, they might be saying, hey, this is something that you should not do, and show that video. So this is how video can play a role in so many ways that you're not thinking about.
A lot of things that we don't think about usually come through these conversations, and video is usually not something that you see leaders talking about, right? Oh, what's your next video? And no, they're talking about the business aspect, operational aspect, the people aspect, and they miss a lot of cues in terms of how beneficial video can be to them and their outcome, right? As part of a business. We'll be talking about business and business plan and how you incorporate video in that. But how has video changed your life as a business owner?
It has opened doors that I never imagined. Within a month and a half or 2 months of having my live streaming show, Journey of an Entrepreneur, I got published as an author. I'm a best-selling author, international and here in the United States. I was able to get onto other people's shows. I built a community from it. I also was able to build a whole business. Like, nobody thinks that you could build a whole business around video. You actually can, because video starts to get integrated into all that we do. Whether you're public speaking, whether you're an auditor, whether you're even a doctor, video becomes a part of, this is just what is expected. If I'm looking up this doctor, or I'm looking up this Enrique's wonderful agency to bring in, I want to see what they're about. Is this going to be the right fit? And so that's how video has helped me connect with more businesses, especially with my lawyers and doctor clients, because that's like the first thing they see. I'm talking about that I can do this, but they want to see the proof. And the proof is, okay, you have your posts. Then it's, let me hear from your clients. What are the results that you're getting? And then that is why they're saying, yes, I want to work with you.
And a very powerful thing to witness as you're watching somebody. You mentioned this earlier. Hey, people are going to look at you and they're going to look at your profile and then they're going to look at your activities. When they go to the videos, that's where you prove what it is that you are saying you can do. They look for that proof, and video provides that. So leaders may be considering implementing video into their daily work, into their business. Where do you see leaders missing the mark when it comes to that? Because there's a lot that are hiding.
They're allowing their fear of being in front of the camera to get in the way. They're allowing the things that they think that people are going to pinpoint and talk about maybe getting in the way. And I'm just going to go down from the high level, what you see, to like things that they may not be thinking about, but it may be coming up. Another one is they might feel like a failure. So when you're feeling as a failure, it's very hard to show up on camera, especially if you feel that your team is not connected to you. So then you're like, well, why would I want to get on camera? They don't even like me. Or maybe they like you, but because things aren't going how you want to, there's a lot of failure, or things are not going well at home. It shows up the moment that you see yourself. So it becomes this you against you. And then comes okay, it has to be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. We're not perfect. So just get comfortable with progress. Because last time I checked, a good leader hears what you have to say, and then they put it into the form of the big plan. So if they're seeing you trying to get on camera, you're trying to express yourself, then they're going to be like, hey, I see this. Okay. He or she has mentioned many times, hey, I don't like doing this, but I'm doing it because it's for the greater good. And I also, this is just me. It's you're not thinking about the big picture. You're thinking about just what you want. And that could also be felt in the video. So if you're trying to talk to your team and you're trying to express something, if you're coming from the viewpoint, it's only about what you think and not what they think, they can feel it. That's just some things that I've noticed with some of the leaders that I've watched. And I've noticed, like, hey, the ones that just were authentic, that just said, hey, things aren't going as what we planned, but I've heard your requests. I've heard, and they start listing those things out. Hey, now that person feels connected. Like, oh my God, they actually heard me. These are just a few things that I've noticed with leaders when it comes to videos. And we're all leaders in our own way, not just if you are a CEO of a major corporation, but also of your own company. I've seen with corporation, it has to be very fluid and very professional. But at the same time, I also say sometimes when you're too perfect, it becomes, you can't connect. And it's like, well, I don't really know if what you are saying is benefiting me or the company. That's just the challenge that I have.
And I love that. There are ways, leaders, that you can use video to your benefit. One of those that came up to me in my mind as you was talking, Sri, was, there's limited time with each and every one of our workers, but we can actually do a video explaining something at work that maybe is often missed, or there's a lot of mistakes around. You can actually lead your team to solutions by creating a video, and you can do that all by yourself. And so just an example there. So If a leader's wondering, man, why can I use? That's one way. Teach your teams through videos. They'll love it because they can always uh, see you doing it without actually having you around. So sometimes that's even better.
Yeah, and sometimes some of the examples you might include in the video is something that, maybe it is something that the team is doing, but also showing examples of other teams. So you're not saying you're not pointing the finger at your team, because sometimes people feel like you're pointing the finger at me. But we love when you praise us. And when everybody's like, oh my God, your name got said, like you got shouted out. Oh, that's awesome. And even yourself, when you see that, there's a sense of pride, like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this because now others can see and learn from me.
Absolutely, yeah. Not only correction but praise. Hey, use them both. You won't you won't regret it. Let's just say that. Now you mentioned the fear, things that leaders consider be as a way of not going to do this. But what once a person gets over the fears and the jitters of video and how they can use it, what can what can I start doing to make video a part of workflow? Because typically you don't see video as part of workflow. And I think you hinted on that. There's a way of using it to help praise your people and kind of get them engaged. But what other ways can we do that?
So when you think about your workflow, you want to think about, okay, what is something that I'm getting asked a lot and that I could convert into a video? And then decide when that day of recording is and when that day is of editing, because sometimes it's too much to do all of that. So maybe you have a day during the week where you allow people to ask questions to you, and you use that one question or several questions, that you can create a video. When I also think about workflow, I also think about, why do you want to add video? What impact will it have? Is it going to change some kind of thought process that is going on? Or is it going to help my team? Because right now they're at a low and I need to bring them to a high. What's the intent of the video? That's the things that you want to think about. Where it's easy to add it into your workflow, but we're not thinking about why, the intention, and what are the results we want. When we kind of put that into play, then it's easy to just put out and create that video on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, because everybody's like, you got to put a video out. But really think about, what is your process? How and what is going to help you? So when you start implementing it into your workflow, how and what will it do for your team? But also, here's the other thing. What do you want to get out of from that video? Do you want to get better in your public speaking? Do you want to get better in your presentation? Do you want to work on the intonation of your voice? So when you get in front of your team, you've been practicing and they can tell. Or is it that you want to challenge yourself and say, you know what, I've been doing one video per week. I'm going to start recording more. And so then it just becomes a compound of habits that you're adding on, and it gets you to a result that you want for yourself. Because sometimes, let's just not forget, we are a little bit selfish, but selfish in a good way.
Indeed. And business is all about the bottom line sometimes. And so I know that some leaders that are listening or some business owners that are listening are thinking, okay, well, how much is this going to cost me? Where's the time? Where are the people going to come out of? And all this other things. But there's a way of infusing video into business strategy, and I think that that's where most people don't think about. So what do you suggest to those looking to adding video as part of their business strategy?
When I think about that, even when I ask to individuals, I say, why? Why do you want to add it? I always ask that question. What is it that you believe will happen with this video? And It's about the long game. What do you see in a year will happen for the team, for the business, for yourself? Because if you're thinking about the short term, the results may not come as fast as you would like. And so for businesses, it's all about, how will this video help the business? If I know that I need to invest this much time, who's going to help me? Because you can't do everything. There are agencies like myself who will, work with you, go back and forth, and then we record, we edit, and you post it. We do all of it for you. All you have to do is show up. But yes, there is input from you. But if you're like, you know what, I can't afford it right now, then you have to think about, in your work week, where can you devote time to batch create? How can you, who's going to edit? Is it going to be you? Are you going to use those wonderful AI tools or CapCut or DaVinci? I mean, there's a learning curve of learning some of this. The AI tools, you just upload it. And even then you have to go back and edit, but you have to think about the time. Time is money. You cannot get back the time that you invest in something. So if you realize, hey, this is going to take about 15 hours of my time a month, if you value your time, you might value it enough to say, you know what, for those 15 hours, I'd rather have somebody else do it, because then I can focus on other things. And this might take, instead of doing 15, this person's asking me a few questions. It might take me an hour or two, but they're doing the rest of the work. Then this is why the investment in bringing in someone or hiring someone is worth it.
And I know that you provide that for businesses. So if you're a business or a leader and you're looking to implement video as part of your plan, whether it's your business plan or your professional development plan, however that is, reach out to Sri, because I know that she can help you. Now, what do you have coming up, and how can they get a hold of you in order to provide those services?
So I definitely have a podcast. I've taken my show, Journey of an Entrepreneur. It's taken me 3 years, and I've turned it into a podcast. It's called Adventure of an Entrepreneur, and you can find me on Spotify and other platforms. And then if you are hearing this and you're like, you know what, I want to get the expertise, I don't want to invest more of my team and other people's time, definitely call us. You can reach out to me. I'll make sure link is in the description so that you can book your call, and we can discover if working together is the right fit, because I've learned, in just like many of you, you're not for everybody, but you are for somebody. And helping you develop a strategy that includes video, live streaming, podcasting, that not only benefits your business, but also benefits you. Because I have seen with my own eyes how I've become a better speaker, a better presenter, because of live streaming and video.
Absolutely. And we'll have the connection or the links to all her platforms, podcast, book, all of that as part of the video and the show notes for you to get a hold of Sri. Sri, thank you so much for covering a video and how leaders and business people can take advantage of this tool, because that's what it is, but a very effective tool. Both your life has changed, my life has changed because of it in many different ways. So thank you for sharing that with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you everybody who's listening in.
All right, folks, today's episode is sponsored by Fantail Services and Superpass, which are powering our website and app, Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee, and Harchester, London. And if you've enjoyed this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, make sure to subscribe and let us know by leaving a comment. We're always looking for new ideas and guests that we can add to our show. So if you know someone or have a topic that you would like featured on the podcast or want to sponsor our show, we love to hear about it by emailing us at triadleadershipsolutions@gmail.com. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. And as we like to end the show, success to you.